Quite often, when we get an objection, especially one that we've had before and we recognise, our emotion of immediacy, as we discussed in requirements, tends to compel us to jump straight in with our answer to the question. I can tell you right now that at least 50% of the time when I've observed this in sales coaching sessions, people answered the wrong question. And not just that, they interrupt the customer as they're explaining their concern. So they upset the customer by cutting them off and then frustrate the customer by not answering the question. How do you think that makes the customer feel? Well, the good news is that it doesn't have to be that way if you just follow 3 golden rules. The 3-step process I'm going to share with you is very effective for not only dealing with an objection in a professional and efficient manner, but it also helps to continue to build trust and rapport with your potential customer. So what are these 3 golden rules? That's number 1, listen. Number 2, clarify. And number 3, answer or defer. That's listen, clarify, answer or defer. It sounds simple, and it is, but it's not easy, and there's a big difference. As I said, a significant number of people don't listen properly, and even if they do, they jump straight to rule 3 and attempt to answer the question. So let me give you more detail on these 3 golden rules. Firstly, listen. And make sure you use your active listening skills that we covered in requirements. As you listen, capture the objection, write it down, and most importantly, let the customer finish. It is essential you let the customer finish making their objection, even if they've interrupted you. If they believe it's important enough to bring it up, let them air it. Let them get it off their chest, because just this alone has significant psychological value. Because although not verbalized, they feel a sense of fulfillment in knowing that they have done their due diligence by asking the question. Plus, there is a sense of contentment in knowing that they are being heard. These are both positive emotional motivators. And as we've said previously, these are very powerful motivators in the world of selling. The second golden rule is clarify. Ensure you fully understand the objection by replaying it or summarizing it back. Use the objection to gain more information. Think about the 3 C's and the potential source of the objection, as this will help you when you come to answer it. Ask open questions to get more information, and before you move on, always clarify if there are any other questions for the reasons we discussed in Why Objections Are Good at the beginning of this series. Now, there are 4 benefits this step will give you. The first is to ensure you do fully understand the objection. The second is that it demonstrates that you are listening. The third is that it gives you the opportunity to test if it's a true or false objection. And finally, sometimes if the objection isn't a particularly important issue, just the act of replaying it back to the customer can make it sound quite pathetic, to the point where the customer plays it down by saying something like, well, it was just a point of interest really, it's not that important. The third and final golden rule is to answer or defer. We give you this option for deferring because you genuinely may not know the answer. But whatever you do, never make up answers. You will get caught out. It's not unreasonable to ask the customer if you can come back with that information. However, if you do defer answering, make sure you get back to them within the time frame that you said you would. This doesn't mean that you can't still use this objection as a test close, because you can. But obviously now you would have to say something like, so if I can get back to you on Tuesday with that information and it satisfactorily answers your question, do you think we can do business? Finally, whichever tactic you use, always check that the objection was answered to the customer's satisfaction. It's important that you get them to verbalize their satisfaction. So ask the question directly, i.e., does this answer your question? Because getting them to say the word yes has some specific value, which we'll explain later in the Success series. So there you have it. The 3 golden rules: listen, clarify, and answer or defer. Like all these tools and techniques, I want you to put them into action straight away. Using these 3 steps will give you increased confidence, as well as a more professional and structured approach to this stage of the sales process. As always, I'm going to suggest you come back and watch this episode time and time again. This will reinforce the points we've discussed and bring these 3 simple rules back to your conscious mind to ensure you implement them correctly and consistently, so you realise the value they can bring you if you use them. So, good luck with the 3 golden rules, and I, Brian Conway, look forward to seeing you again in future episodes of Serious Selling.